Okay, I'm gonna start the prologue.
Cool. Cool.
And then, oh fuck. So we'll have an MS par slash narrator and then an Aradia for this first one.
I'll sit this one out if you two want to take it.
Sure. Want me to do Aradia?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you'll do good, Aradia.
Cool. Oh, there's a lot of whispers.
Yeah. You've been in space quite a while, huh? The company of horror terrors is both soothing and alarming. They are far more amicable than you could have foreseen. Just willing to hang around. Maybe they just like to hang around in general. The void isn't empty that way. Oh.
Not to interrupt your broodings, but I think there is something we can do here.
You don't think you're ready to go back into the main narrative just yet.
I have a way to solve that. I can tell you my favorite story!
Oh. Is it about bones? Aradia looks at you funny.
Some type of bones, but not the ones you'd expect. Skeletons in Alternia's closet.
Eyebrow waggle. Aradia flies a few feet away from you and seems to focus. You are very impressed, but hesitant. Aradia's favorite story? And it's not about bones? That could mean a myriad of things.
This is the story of the Signless.
The Signless? There's something that rings a bell. It's not the name, but something else that makes you feel that you've been near his legacy. You push the feeling away and take steps towards the portal. Horror terrors seem ignorant to the rift in time and your movements. This will change nothing, no? Aradia mentions you won't even remember a thing about this. She smiles at you like someone who's keeping a secret.
Not a thing. But don't worry about it. This isn't my first time. We can look at everything. It does help to remember where you came from, how they lived, and how they met their end. Visual aid is never bad for what would be a fully written and told story.
Aradia messes with the portal. It reacts the way a TV does when someone changes channels.
It will help pass the time to just watch this like a movie. Maybe you'll get ideas to screw up canon relevance even more.
That's not on your mind right now.
There we go. The beginning.
You're ready.
That's the spirit!
You step next to Aradia, seeing the portal and a desert on the other side. A familiar troll seems to show on the other end. Is that Kanaya? She looks much older.
You could argue that I'm pretty sure someone already has.
Is that supposed to happen? Aradia doesn't respond, but you both can notice one of the horrors has sneakily touched the portal, and it's way bigger now. Bigger and brighter. The colors are far more vivid and bright, like all the static has been sucked up the place. What is happening?
Venture.
You both are sucked into the portal, and as everything goes dark, you could swear you can hear Aradia's cackles. Everything happens in a flurry of motion and movement. You reach out to grab Aradia's arm, trying to keep from falling on your ambiguous yet surely stunning face, but your hands seem to phase in and out of the horror terror's void. Aradia, of course, just grins at you as this happens, laughing. You feel like you're falling with impossible speeds pushing you down faster and faster. The world around you is a blaze of fire and confusion, and the desert you had been watching reaches up towards you with open and sandy palms. You find yourself screaming, desperate for... Oof. Owie. Your face. It hurts. You stand slowly, rubbing your head. You're in a dip, the ground concave towards a single smoking point. A crater, maybe. Did you cause this? No, you couldn't have. After all, you're not in the center. It's lit strangely, and your shadow cast down in front of you. There's a noise behind you, a sudden inhale. You turn slowly, freezing as you see the figure from the portal, the adult not Kanaya, defensively cradling something in her arms, teeth bared as she stares down at you with glowing, yellow eyes. With an odd sense of calm, you note that she doesn't look particularly happy. Wow, adults are massive. You kinda wondered if that was a high blood thing, but Jades are mid-tier and she's still very tall. And haha, whoa, those fangs are real fucking long, huh? It all only takes half a second, and then you're blinded by a bright white light. You feel, more than see, something rushing through the air towards you, a snarl cutting through the empty world around you as you feel for certain that you're going to get brutalized. You step back, run back, trying to sputter out something calm and friendly, but you trip and find the glowing figure launching itself at you, glowing eyes wide and panicked and angry. Your hands scrabble against the loose earth, but you can't find any purchase and you really don't want to get involved in anything super wild right now. You definitely don't want to die right now. You have no idea what's going on, and in your panic, all you want to do is... get the hell out of there! And the world around you changes. You let out a long, shaky breath. Okay. What the fuck? You call out for Aradia, but get no response. Okay then. You're on your own, it seems. At least these woods seem calming enough. You sit back against one of the trees, letting your heart rate settle for a moment as you try to piece together what it was that just happened. Big Kanaya. Scary noises. Bright light. The last two just leave you confused, but you think you got a handle on the first one. Adults aren't around on Alternia, right? So either that was another criminal or... ancestors, right? Like the one Vriska was copying. Maybe you just met Kanaya's hot mom. Grandma?
Yeah.
Off in the distance of the woods, you hear voices, noises, rustling of leaves and branches being crunched underfoot. A group of people are moving through the area, it seems. You stay where you are, only half paying attention, lost in your thoughts. There's no compulsion to chase down whoever's out there, and you can't even see them anyway. Anyway, this has been fascinating, but maybe you'd be better off just going back to the horror terrors. Maybe you can find Aradia and try again.
Who are you?
Oh. Or you could be found yourself. It's her again, but she seems calmer, older, much more confident within herself. There's an air of pride she carries with her you know for certain you would never be able to pull off. Something tells you her question is also, somehow, a threat. You have no idea how to introduce yourself, and end up just shrugging. A friend, you guess? Probably? Friendly, definitely. She narrows her eyes at you.
Oh yes, that's certainly a guaranteed way to make someone trust you. You've hacked it. All of Alternia is yours for the taking. What do you want?
You can't use your generic friendship answer then, can you? You tell her you were just hiding out in the woods and heard a bunch of people head off. That's it. You don't even know what you're here for. She doesn't seem overly impressed with your explanation. That's fair, you're not impressed with it either. You're not here to cause trouble in any way, you let her know. You're just a very neutral, very middle-line person. Extremely unbothered by all of this. You're just a regular old person out here. In the middle of the woods. Like normal people do. This doesn't seem to improve her outlook on you. Jade eyes track you up and down, and you get the distinct impression she's peeling you apart at the seams. This woman can see right through you.
Well, you're certainly not normal.
That's fair. You're kind of not.
I mean, look at you. You're clearly cull bait. You'd be dead in a second if the drones got their grab fronds on you. You're unusual, that's what I'm saying.
Why is Kanaya's hot mom so mean? You mean, She's right, but still, you've lasted this long. She sighs.
This is why I don't do the speaking. I'd tell you to leave, but with the way you are, you can't exactly sneak back into the subgrubs without being noticed.
She'd be surprised, but you let her take a moment to think.
I need to gather some supplies before we get moving anyway. How about I lead you back into town? 2 sets of gander bulbs works better than 1 after all.
Oh, fuck yes. Road trip with Jonaya's weird mom. She eyes you over for a moment before reaching behind her and handing you what seems to be a miniature, or regular, sized version of the knife on her back.
Just in case. I would rather not be traveling with someone who has no way to defend themselves.
You appreciate her concern, though you wonder what purpose there could possibly be in you having this tiny thing when she's got a big fuck-off knife strapped to her back. She helps to pull you to her feet. There's a moment where she gives you a funny look, then she gives her head a slight shake, as if to chase some thought from it. You give her a hopefully endearing grin, maybe even an awkward thumbs up.
I've been rude. Do you have a name you'd like me to call you?
Honestly, at this point, you're far used to you, or oh, it's you, or hey, what are you doing, or holy fuck, where the hell did you come from, than any kind of name.
I can understand that. There's no need to give me any information you're uncomfortable with. We're all just out here trying to survive on this bitch of an Alternia.
You nod sagely, and politely ask for her name in return. You would much rather hear more about her than talk about yourself. This is Aradia's favorite story? Tale? Facet of history? After all, you have to be a good friend to her and try to become friends with this suspicious woman. Said suspicious woman pauses, but gives you an answer.
My title is the Dolorosa. I suppose it was presumptuous of me to assume you'd already have known that, even if you were in the area of the sermon.
Sermon? What, like a clerch meeting out in the woods? Doesn't seem right, considering her lack of face paint and general desire to murder you, but what do you know? She gives you a distasteful look.
Do I look like a clown to you?
That is a potentially dangerous question to answer for a variety of reasons. You wisely keep your mouth shut.
I'm no follower of murderous messiahs. No, that's not the kind of sermon I was speaking of.
There's a hesitance to her suddenly, and her eyes flick around the trees behind you, as though the thought someone may be listening has occurred to her. One of her hands drips subtly and lightly downward, settling on the handle of some big fuck-off weapon at her hip.
Have you heard of the Signless?
Something nags at the back of your mind, but no, you don't think you have.
Alternia despises anyone that doesn't fit the mold. Any difference that cannot be obviously exploited, you're called for.
Yeah, you've gathered that from being on Alternia for a while. She gives you a look.
You're clearly not a troll. I may not be the one who does the preaching, but I can understand the necessity for understanding the environment in which a story is told.
Alright, damn. You feel yourself blush from embarrassment. The admonishment of being a lot more effective when it comes from an adult.
We're taught to believe in these structures from the night we hatch. The caverns were formed to continue the survival of the system. Of being destined for a specific role, unable to break away from what use you've been bred for, told that your life should serve the Empire. Even when the rigid hierarchy of it seems like absolute hoofbeast shit, it's near impossible to break out of the mindset of existing within the structures you've been exposed to your entire life. I've met so many people who are angry they can't progress up the hemospectrum rather than being enraged at the hemospectrum's existence itself. The Signless, my clade member, to put it simply, tries to preach for the breaking down of barriers, the worth inherent in people, whether the Empire recognizes that or not. The recognition that warm bloods should get more out of life than they do. The recognition that every grub hatched deserves an equal opportunity to thrive, regardless of arbitrary caste. Our sermons revolve around those concepts. He preaches so that other people might learn they're worth more than what the Empire tells them.
And, yeah, everyone deserves better. You've traveled across Alternia and seen so many people just struggling under the weight of the system they've been forced to live in. It sucks.
Oh yes, it just kind of sucks how we're all horrifically oppressed. Not one to overstate a fact, are you?
Your phrasing could, admittedly, use a little work. You don't think you've heard the term clade before. What does she mean by it, exactly?
It's not a particularly common term. Consider it as a band of people who live for and love each other. A small clan fiercely loyal to one another.
Like a family. Delighted surprise crosses her face, and she gives you a small, but genuine smile. Warmth coats her tone, even as she speaks cautiously. It's the sort of look that causes you to swell with pride, a kind of approval you'd chase forever if you could.
Exactly like a family. I raised the Signless as my son. I acted as a Lucis to him. It's an unorthodox arrangement, but it worked out.
Her expression softens a little. You feel a swell of pride at your work. Look at this! You made her smile and everything.
I would do anything for him.
As you cross into the town proper, her already stiff figure only stiffens further. While her eyes remain focused forward, you're certain that she's paying attention to every sound and movement around you. Not necessarily a suspicious pose to take, considering what Alternia is like. As tense as it feels to travel with her like this, you get the distinct feeling that this is a practiced motion. Watching her wind her way through the streets, as she makes sure she's on that perfect balanced line between nervous low blood and calm and casual citizen who is allowed to exist, you can't help but realize how exhausting it all must be. In fact, you don't just realize it, you feel it. The constant facade, trying to live in a society that wants to reject her and her clade. Just trying to imagine living like that. It crushes you down a little. As you both turn into some back alley, you prepare yourself for your big friend moment. Oh yeah, you feel it coming, alright. Ask about her emotional state. You call out quietly to the Dolorosa, and she spins around on silent feet in an instant. Her eyes rove over your head before settling on your face, confused that you're coming to a halt.
What?
Is she, like, okay?
I'm fine.
That doesn't strike you as particularly genuine, but alright. She gives you a dirty look.
Where did you need to go again? The place you had to leave to. Do you need help getting back Hive?
Was she leading you somewhere first? Kinda seemed like she has a place in mind. Hell, she's been pretty independent this entire little adventure you've had. You wanna know why you're heading this way? Also, like, how she's doing? You encourage Rosa to open up to you, because you're friendly and want her to be okay. It doesn't seem to do anything to improve her mood.
Do not call me any form of pet name or nickname if you are not a member of my family. I have a title. Use it.
Haha, whoops. She didn't answer the other question? Where's she going?
This is where I was leading us regardless. I would have liked to check in here first.
Almost theatrically, she extends an arm and bangs a small rhythm on the dirty door beside her.
A sermon goer offered us some food and supplies for our travels. I wanted to make sure they were okay and set up for when I came back from leading you wherever.
There's a shuffling behind the door as someone calls out for her to wait from the inside.
Which part of town are you headed back towards?
You blink and scramble for some kind of answer, thrown off by your inability to forge a friendship with this woman. You, don't actually have hive to go back to? You don't live here.
What do you mean you don't live here? Why did you follow me then?
You just wanted to see what her deal was. You're sorry. She just seemed like interesting and you want to know more. You're really apologetic and everything for sort of lying to her.
Stop, just...
You mean it? You're really fucking sorry. Please don't leave Dolorosa, who you won't use nicknames on.
Stop yelling.
You freeze as she grabs you, slapping a hand over your mouth. At first, you thought she was just mad about your blustering, but on second glance, there's a hint of fear on her face. She watches out the entrance of the alley behind you, completely still. Right, Murder Planet. You hold your breath. And hold still. Waiting. Bang!
Holy fuck!
Dropping you and clutching at her chest, she spins around. The door behind you is slammed open. The troll in the shadows of the doorway babbles a string of quiet, sheepish apologies at the noise, and the Dolorosa gives gentle, amused replies. You enjoy listening in on the conversation, even as you're stabbed with a little envy. You want to get those amused replies. You're focusing so hard on eavesdropping, in fact, that you become confused at the sudden silence. They seem to have stopped talking for no reason. Or, that is, they seem to have stopped talking for no reason until you hear a whoop behind you. When you turn, your eyes land on a clown and... Oh, fuck. You thought the disembodied voice of an adult clown was frightening? Seeing a full-grown adult clown makes your perfect legs shake. Minty, do you want to do a clown voice?
I do sure love clown voices, you are correct. Hey, look what we got here! A runaway, a freak, and a traitor sympathizer!
The saccharine sweet words only further drive your fear. She's smiling so wide, like having 3 unique victims cornered like this is a present. Behind you, you hear the Dolorosa telling the other troll to get back inside in a low voice. The door closes a little too loudly, and the clown just laughs. And yeah, that makes sense. This troll blocks the entire exit out to the street. Some wooden door isn't going to stop her from getting her hands on the poor lowblood that just wanted to help out. Completely frozen, your mind skipping back over and over and over again to the fact that this clown is fucking massive, you're certain there's no good way to get out of this. If you stand here and try to talk it out, she'll just laugh at you, right? There's no mercy in those eyes, no matter how joyful the expression she wears is. And you can't just let Jonaya's not but sort of mom die here in this alleyway. Would Jonaya stop existing if you did? You haven't exactly been careful with the threads of time, but unexisting one of your friends like some kind of Back to the Future fuck-up isn't exactly something you want to do. Just by being here and talking to her, haven't you already diverted the Dolorosa's path? What if she dies here because of you?
What do you want?
Her tone is cautious, but delicately held in a flat and bored tone. The clown's grin splits open even wider, and you've seen some weird shit, but that can't be natural. And she laughs, like the idea of her having to justify what she's about to do is the biggest joke imaginable. Meow. Also, that's you.
Oh, there it is. Was looking to get some preaching and rending done tonight. Want to help with that, babe?
The clown sneers, and the Dolorosa glowers back evenly, lips curled up in the faintest sign of a snarl. You're going to see your friend's mom get clown murdered if you don't do anything to stop it. You have to do something. Quick. Alright, we've got,
Save time.
What? Can I... There we go, okay.
I don't remember which of these leads to the bad ending.
I do.
Okay.
Do we want to... I guess we've got a few people in chat. What do y'all think? Do we want to get Rosa out of there, or do we want to distract the clown?
Distract the clown?
Get her out, Mia.
Oh, okay. We should probably get her out.
Should probably get her out.
Alright.
Alright, the Mios have it. Get Rosa out of there. Hands stretched out in front of you, you launch yourself towards the Dolorosa. Without explaining, you wrap your measly arms around her waist, launching through space, back out to the forest where you met.
Oof. What just...
Is she okay? Holy fuck, that was close.
What the fuck just happened?
Oh, you sort of have these teleportation powers? You were worried it might freak her out, but you kind of had to save her life. So you just...
You just decided to leave.
Yeah? She doesn't exactly strike you as the kind of person that should get kebabbed by a clown. That's exactly the sort of situation you'd rather avoid. Especially considering she's, like, important.
You just let that clown stay there. With the troll that was helping us.
You didn't really have a choice,
I was making a choice. You can't just fucking take that from other people. You don't get to decide my actions and what I do, and you don't get to fucking choose for me to leave an innocent bystander behind.
But you saved your life.
And I should thank you? Is my life worth more than theirs?
No, but...
But what?
You're wordless. What can you say? You acted without thinking and tried to get her out of the danger. Maybe it was a stupid choice, but you find yourself frozen as her anger bubbles up to the surface, surging out of her without hesitation.
But nothing. Go back.
What?
Go back and help them, you fucking coward.
You want to argue, but with the way she's staring down, it would be impossible for you to do anything else. She storms a step towards you, and you stumble back, reaching back for the alley, and... You arrive. And then immediately close your eyes. There was blood. Just everywhere. You've seen blood before, and just, like, awful, copious amounts of violence. But that doesn't mean it's any less horrifying. The door was bashed in, and you swear there was a discarded arm up against the wall, but you don't want to look too close, and... Oh god, your stomach roils. It's nightmarish. You can't stay here. You can't stay here. She's staring you down. You realize, rather belatedly, that blood is coated on your feet, and she's clearly noticed, has read through your expression and understood what it means. Her face twists into disgust.
You let that happen.
She's shaking with fury, and you realize. Silence drags out, like she's finding it hard to spit her words out through her rage.
Pathetic, selfish coward. And you let someone get slaughtered because of it. You didn't even think to help them. You just ran.
She doesn't know that. And she doesn't know if she could have survived it either. And frankly, you would much rather she didn't die.
You don't know what I'm capable of surviving. You chose to look away. What do you think gives you the right to look away? I'd much rather I didn't die. Haven't you learned that what you want doesn't matter? They deserve to live, just like the rest of us.
Ice coats her tone, and under her gaze you feel as though you're going to sink into the ground below and never, ever crawl back out. After watching you sink into yourself, she turns away.
Leave.
What?
You've made your choice. You've shown what you will and won't do. You don't need my help running away when the bitter truths are hard to swallow. Go.
That's not fair. You don't always run. She turns sharply to look at you, something like a terrible mix of grief and fury on her face, her gaze downright murderous. You vividly and uncomfortably remember the terror of your encounter with her, out in the desert, and take a reflexive step back.
Get out of my fucking face!
No, she should just hear you out.
You don't get to choose what I do, to tell me what I should do. Ever. Whether it's to save my life or your own.
But it's helped. It's done good things for people before, and
You shouldn't be able to do that to anyone. Now get out of my way, or it's not going to just be innocent blood spilled tonight.
you remain frozen to the spot as she stalks off, head high, and doesn't look back. Hey, baby, you're a useless piece of shit.
Incredible.
Incredible.
All right.
That's an
Load
end
up
card.
that save.
Angry mom indeed. She's not she's not a casual, kind sort of mom. She's the sort of mom who will wreck your shop. As we're presumably about to see when we distract the clown.
All right.
Okay. Before either of the trolls has a chance to speak further, you teleport behind the clown anime style and try to shove her. Ah, yes, anime style.
Ah, yes.
Wow,
Just
she's
to be
built like a
Japanese anime.
house. That's just solid muscle. It'd be genuinely surprising if she feels it. You quickly teleport out of the way again before she could fuck you up entirely. That is an attack you would not survive. The Dolorosa stares at you in a momentary second of shock before deciding to focus on the issue at hand. She pulls out that big fuck-off sword of hers, and you feel a stab of panic at her expression, despite the fact that you are not the one that look is directed at. Kanaya's hot mom is terrifying. Sputtering with indignation at the sudden turn of events, the clown spins again and decides to lunge for the non-teleporting member of your party. Something draws you to watch Rose as she's about to be attacked. Her eyes flick up the empty alleyway, checking over the empty streets behind the enemy charging her down. No one is in sight. It's just the three of you. Jade eyes lock and narrow on the clown, who has a flash of hesitation on her face. You don't blame her. Hesitation becomes disgusted, horrified fear, the clown stumbling back and landing on her asses, like some kind of brutal, wrong lightning bug. The Dolorosa skin lights up, blinding white.
What the fuck is this?
It sounds as though the clown is desperately trying to come off as though she's still the intimidating one in the situation.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
There's a flash of long, sharp fangs as the Dolorosa gives a cold laugh.
Just wanted to do some preaching and rending, babe.
By now, she's walked up to the still-downed clown and pinned her to the ground with a single foot. The Dolorosa is not a small or meek-looking woman by any means, but that clown has at least a foot on her, and you felt it. She was stacked. There's no way. But the clown struggles to get up, staring in anger at the furiously glowing jade blood over her. Holy fuck. The Dolorosa leans down, hands on that sword of hers, and despite the situation, despite your allegiance in this particular instance, you can't help but cry out to her, concerned for what's coming next. She looks over her shoulder at you, expression unreadable, then gives a small smile. Okay, it's gonna be okay. You're certain nothing could possibly go wrong. Kit says not to be gay, but me too, buddy.
Go make sure our friend is alright. Help them out for me. We don't want anyone getting hurt tonight.
Okay, yeah, that's a good plan. She'll keep the scary clown out of action, and you'll help the nice troll get out of here if they need to. You teleport quickly into the house, call out gently, and find them hidden away. You ask about climbing out a window, but they give you a strange look. Apparently, lowbloods in these sorts of buildings don't bother with them. It's expensive to get sun-blocking fabric. It doesn't take more than a few minutes to help them do what they need and gather the necessary items for a temporary escape. You drop them off on the other side of the subgrove, and return to the alley. Where the Dolorosa is stood, hands out in front of her, sword through the throat of the now dead clown. Her back stays to you as she yanks it out, wiping purple blood from its blade with her arm. Only as she slides it back into its sheath does she turn and notice you. What happened?
There is no way for me to salvage the situation without letting innocent people get hurt. Not everyone will listen. Sometimes we have to do things we are not proud of in order to survive.
She sighs, stepping away from the clown's corpse, and gives you a weary, ingenuine smile. There's not a spot of blood on her, even as purple begins to pool out in the alleyway.
Come on, help me carry these supplies back, if you don't have a hive to go to.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. The troll had them stashed just inside of the hive's entrance. You watch as she hoists the larger of the two bags over her shoulder and do the same with your own. Without doubt, you know she could carry both. The pair of you step out of the alley and back into the street. The strut pod paths are almost entirely empty of other trolls. You walk in what you hope is a companionable silence for a while.
So, you can teleport.
And she can glow. You're learning fun facts about each other tonight. Her gaze cuts down to look at you.
Yes. Which means it wasn't just a wild imagining of my panicked pan when I saw you appear before me 10 sweeps ago.
Oh. Oh. The bright flash and the snarling, that was her. Now that you think about it, it makes sense. Actually, you feel embarrassed it took you this long to really connect these dots.
Have you been following me? Or is this just a twist of fate that we've met again?
Sort of both? You haven't been, tracking her throughout her whole life or anything, but you were specifically told that her life is interesting. Important. She doesn't seem to know how to respond to that. It's a longer story than you'd really be able to explain, but basically, you can jump through time the same way you can jump through space. So for her, it's been sweeps since that first meeting. For you...
It hasn't been long at all.
Yeah. She takes a moment to process this.
I would ask that you do not let word of my abilities to spread.
The flashy glowing?
Yes, the flashy glowing. Your phrasing is, as always, impeccable.
What was that? Is it a mutation, or... Not that she has to tell you anything.
Would you believe me if I said I wasn't entirely sure?
You completely believe her, and nod vigorously to let her know this.
You were there when it first started to manifest.
Out in that desert crater? She nods, looking away from you again, distant.
I used to live back in the caverns, with the other Jade Bloods. It's considered a safe haven, away from the brutality and complexities of the surface. It's a place of life. Lucii and grubs are born there, bond there. Everyone knows their function, their role, and fits neatly into it. The caverns are where everyone is assigned their purpose. I hated them.
Holding your tongue, you let her speak. There's a storyteller's tone to her voice, and you find yourself compelled to simply listen. She keeps walking through the streets, feet barely making any noise against the pavement.
Of course, Jade Bloods aren't allowed to just leave. But I tried. I succeeded in what I set out to do. But it didn't last.
She falls still, one hand drifting over her midsection absent-mindedly, fingers just touching to the fabric under her ribs.
The myths have been muddied over time, the facts lined up in such a way that it made it impossible to really deny it. Waking up from the dead tends to make one accept their new reality.
Oh, wait. Oh.
I have yet to meet another rainbow drinker in my sweeps of travel. I suspect it is in some way a mutation, or perhaps simply a rare chance of genetics. The two are similar, so we may as well conflate them. I don't think semantics like that would really protect me from the culling of Orc. Or from worse.
Holy shit. Kanaya's ancestor is a sexy vampire. A sexy, glowy vampire. That's cool as fuck. So she attacked you because she just left the caverns and everything new was a threat? Or something? Not that someone suddenly appearing out of thin air wouldn't freak anyone out regardless of their current point in life.
Something like that. On leaving the caverns, I found a grub. Not that it's impossible to find a grub outside of the caverns, but this grub had no lucis, no shelter, and no place on the existing hemospectrum. He was essentially castless, signless, and that made him a threat. A decent Jadeblood would do their duty and cull the thing. But I wasn't exactly a good Jadeblood, or at least not according to what I'd been taught. Certainly not decent. Seemed unfair to leave it there. Mutant bloods can't have Luci. Their caste isn't bred into any type, and so they're destined to die anyway, unless a rare cross-caste bond happens. But it had survived, made it through the trials. It had escaped, and now there was nowhere for it to go. It felt sickening. And if I was already going to be breaking the rules by escaping, I may as well break the rules by trying to find the Scrubbalucis too, right? I thought it wasn't possible for the Empire to consider my actions any more illegal than my existence already was.
She grins at that, a sharp flash of fangs, her eyes meeting yours briefly.
I was wrong, of course, but still. I'd had one goal my entire life, and after escaping the caverns, I felt lost, purposeless. There's not exactly any jobs that offer freedom to Jadebloods. I wanted proof that things could exist and survive outside of the rules. So I'd made it my goal to force Elucis to bond with the grub. He was a centering factor in a tumultuous time for me. It would be hard for me not to be defensive. Anything, anyone, could be a danger to either of our freedom.
Wait, but she raised him, right? You thought... For some reason you'd gotten the idea in your head that she'd chosen to look after him. You hadn't realized it wasn't her intention from the start.
No, I didn't intend on keeping him. The idea didn't even occur to me. I wanted him to have something of his own life. As much he could. A regular chance, like any other grub from the cavern. I tried to tell myself it was a sense of duty that drove me, not compassion. Not...
Her shoulders bounce slightly in an idle shrug, but she smiles to herself, almost as if laughing at her own words.
Love. I traveled for Periges. No Lucis would bond. I had to fight to keep the thing alive. I'd had no goal but to find this Grubba Lucis to take it in, determined to protect it, look after it, for so long. When he spun his cocoon...
Her face goes dark for a moment, then she gives you a wry smile.
There's nothing quite like realizing you found yourself a purpose only after said purpose is essentially in a coma for an indeterminate amount of time.
Oh.
He deserved the chance to live a life of his own, didn't he? And if nothing else could give him that, I would.
So she became the grub's mom.
Yes, as I said earlier, he is my son. I am, for lack of a better word, his mother. Troll mom.
She gives a not-so-genuine laugh at the lucisification of her title.
There is no true name for what I am, who I am. It's not exactly an orthodox relationship. I can understand if that brings up a sense of confusion. But it's important. It means something. He means something.
It'd be kind of a dick move for you to bring up human families now, wouldn't it? So you nod and give her an awestruck look. Not that the latter is entirely faked. The Dolorosa did something that had never been done before as far as she's aware, and if this is the past, then as far as you're aware too. That's impressive. To not only run away, but to do something entirely unprecedented. She's like the ultimate mom.
I am not a Lucis. I didn't know what to teach him, what skills he would need, when I would let him go. I still don't know. But I know I'll try. All I'm doing is trying.
Silence falls between you for a long time. It's not uncomfortable, but it has a weight to it. Brooding. You cross back into the forest once more. That stiffness from her stance has disappeared along with the threat of being watched, but her shoulders remain tensed. She must be proud of him.
I am. How couldn't I be? He is constantly in the process of trying to reinvent a broken world.
You frown. Despite her words, despite the genuine love and warmth you've sensed she has for her son, there's an offbeat in her tone. Like she's scared.
I am not afraid.
You didn't mean to say that.
I don't think you know what to do. I don't think you know what you do and do not mean. And I don't think you are in any position to judge my relationship with my Clade. All four of us fight to better Alternia.
4? It makes sense that her clade would be more than just her and her son, but still. You feel her closing up again, and in a ploy to keep her speaking warmly to you, you ask about the other members of her family. She smiles, even though you're sure she's seen through your cunning plan.
They're delightful, full of love and life, and so much good. My son's relationship with them transcends quadrants. We all travel together. They help lead sermons, help to keep them safe. Our followers know they are important to him. They joined us along our journey. My Clade are the most important people in the world. To me.
That sense of brooding returns, and try as you might, you can't lift it again. Various attempts to redirect the conversation or to restart it get more or less brushed off as you walk through the trees. Oh, hey. Thanks for hanging.
Yeah.
We just got past the line where the Dolorosa says my son's love for them transcends quadrants, and I'm just like, ah! For no reason at all.
Fellas, is it gay to have your love transcend the quadrants?
Fellas, is it gay to be in love with two people whose love is a form of love such that it breaks through the ideas that your society has come up with for love prior to that moment? Yes.
Yes.
You can't help but let the mood infect you. You've seen Alternia's future. You know that whatever it is these guys are doing, it doesn't work. But as you look ahead of you, as the Dolorosa stalks through the trees, determined and focused on her path, you refuse to tell her that. It sends you spinning, though. Is there a point in getting to understand her story if you know that it had a bad ending? Alternia needs more people like her, people who care about its future. That you can tell her, that she's strong, that you admire what it is she's doing here. Your praises do not relax the Dolorosa. In fact, they only heighten the tension in her. You try again. She helped someone tonight, and she's got food for her family. Good people like her are needed, right? That's what she believes. You're glad to have met her. Even in the face of everything, she keeps fighting. Even though you know it's objectively not true, you tell her that Alternia will change because of her. And what do you know? Maybe it really will. Just because things are still bad later on, it doesn't mean their messages can't be passed on through time. Your mind falls back to Tizius, the exhausted Tealblood who dug to find more about these revolutions, who want to reform Alternia. That's one more person who wants to change the world. Of course, you don't tell her that. You can't tell her about the faint traces of her legacy that you did run into. But...
Stop.
You're sorry?
Please, just... stop talking.
Oh. Okay. But for how long, though? Like, is this just a brooding silence so she can say something cool and inspiring, or she can tell you about her clade is going to change the world, or... You know, a moment too late, that her fists are clenched and shaking.
I did not ask for you to come with me so I could be condescended to by someone who does not know me.
Why did she ask you to come? She throws her hands up in the air, exasperated, exhausted.
I don't know. I do not know why I am bothering to let you speak to me. I would have been able to return to our camp much faster without you slowing me down.
Maybe some part of her wanted the help? Carrying the supplies back?
I do not need your help.
Yeah, but maybe she wanted it. Isn't that sort of the thing she's trying to teach? Maybe you fundamentally misunderstood the vibe of their sermons.
Just because we are telling Alternia to change, it does not mean it is happening. It doesn't mean it will happen.
Something inside you freezes. Did you let something slip? But no, you didn't. You know you didn't. So what can she mean?
You've seen it, haven't you? Look around this place. Everything we do takes us 2 steps forward, and we're shoved back.
She pauses, uncomfortable with her hopelessness. The silence grows, a tension between you as it seems to fill up inside her, a flood of anger and sorrow and hurt until the dam bursts, the Dolorosa spinning around to face you, furious.
What can I do? I didn't sign up for this. I'm not made to be gentle and soft and calm. I can't soothe people's fears. I can't convince anyone that things will get better, because, quite frankly, I'm not sure if they can. I would save my son thousands of times over, but that isn't a heroic act. Isn't it selfish?
There's something in her voice you can't quite catch, caught between desperation and guilt, even as this intensity in her grows.
Wanting him to be here in a world I don't believe can change to accept him?
There's a beat between you, and she grows quiet. For a moment, you think she's settled. Her stance relaxes, head turned away. Well, you don't think it's selfish to want someone to have a chance. Even against all odds, you think existence in general is better than not. Death, you inform her, sucks ass. She turns back to you with a glare. Right, sorry, not the right time or space for flippin' jokes about dying. You're bad. You don't think she appreciates the apology.
Tell me it's worth it. I would do anything for my clade. Anything. And I will fight this alongside them. But at the end of the night, I will choose them over Alternia. Every time. You can see through time, can't you?
Your stomach twists as she gives a sickening laugh.
Look then. Tell me it's worth it. Letting them do this. Putting them in danger for people that want nothing more than to tear them down. Days spent awake, sick with fear and paranoia, hearing every fucking noise, seeing death in every shadow. Tell me it's fucking worth it.
Her voice has risen again, teeth bared in her anger at the world. Firebrand eyes are hooked onto you, and you're incapable of moving away. It seems, this time, she wants an answer. You can zap forward, put her fears at ease. This era is a little unwieldy for you, but surely now you know her somewhat, you'll be able to follow her timeline along. You've seen her fire, her passion, and it reminds you of so many of your old friends. You want her to know this is worthwhile, the difference it can make. But given her current mood, maybe leaving wouldn't be a good move. She can definitely handle herself, that's for sure, but that doesn't mean she has to be alone. Okay, we got another choice. Jump forward or stay.
Yeah, what should we do?
I'll give chat a second to come up.
Yeah. Also, thank you very much.
Yeah, Janaya's Miriam's voices are very good. Also, I do like Page of Blood MS part.
It is a very good class pact.
He wants to be. They want to be good at friendship, but they are not yet.
They're just doing their best.
Chat says scared to make a choice.
We have one for maybe stay.
I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly which one's which. I know that she's like basically begged us to go look, and she's previously gotten pissed off at us going, nah, we want to make the decision for you. But also, Dolorosa needs a hug, maybe. MS Par is just a friend. Let them vibe. It's this Thembo friend slut.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm disqualified from voting. I say stay for the bad ending, get it out of the way. Okay, yeah, fuck it. Let's stay and see what we get.
Alright.
You can't tell her that things are gonna be okay. To start, you doubt she would believe you if you did. You can tell she doesn't trust you. And it pains you to say it, it's okay that she doesn't.
I don't need your pity.
Yeah, exactly. You don't think she would want it either. Not that you'd be so bold as to assume what she'd want, of course. It's just, you know, a guess or something. Okay, you take a little breath here. You gotta steel yourself for what you're gonna say next. But you don't think, again, not that you would know anything or would assume you know her, that she, or anyone, would yell at someone in the middle of the woods if they weren't,
What? Spit it out. You look like you've got a ribbit spawn in your swallow tube.
if they weren't, you know, under emotional distress?
I don't think it takes a genius to figure that out. You shove your cartilage nub into every troll's emotional business like the planet's most desperate ashen whore. Or am I special?
You'd be lying if you said the first weren't true in some regard, but also, ouch.
I don't exist to soothe your hurts, and I'm not going to soften my words for anyone. Just because you've done good things, it doesn't mean I necessarily have to like you as a person. Not that I know anything about you as a person. The things you've displayed. I will not claim to be a fan.
Again, you reiterate, ouch.
Prying into my personal issues will not win you any favors. So back off, alright?
Okay, even though you totally believe that she kind of brought this topic up in the first place, but like, whatever, it's fine. One thing though?
Fine. One.
If she's bottled all of this up for who knows how long, to the point where she just shouts at someone she doesn't even like in the woods, wouldn't it be good, maybe, not that you're pushing, for her to talk it out to, like, literally anyone? Not necessarily you, just a person, maybe one she's already close with? Her eyes narrow at you.
My family deserves better than that.
You walk in silence for a long while. Honestly, you're surprised she hasn't sent you away yet.
They are aware of how I am.
You think this is the point where you give her space. to be set in her own story, to say what she needs to say now, in case she never gets another chance.
And they are aware that I am not as open as I should be. It's something I have been working on my own. It is something I have been working on my own. And it is something they are allowing me to take time with. You cannot force people to get better. But you can be there for them. I hate this planet, but I care about the people on it. And I will keep fighting, because at the end of the night, that's all I can do. Even if the thing I am fighting is my own instinct. Even if I have to fight in order to stay the sort of person I want to be. Anyone can do good things without believing they are a good person. And anyone can strive to grow and improve. There's no way to survive on Alternia peacefully. Does that make me a bad person? There's no way for us to save everyone. Am I somehow forsaking them? And there is no way for us to show mercy to all that want to harm us. How many times do we have to make that choice between mercy and survival? It is not hypocriticism, wanting to stay alive, wanting to be safe.
Oh, Hippocrates? Okay. I think it's supposed to be hypocrisy. Oh, whatever.
There is no way to live a life that is pure and devoid of anger, devoid of violence, devoid of the desire to hurt others for the pain they've caused you, caused the world. It's hard. Teaching kindness when cruelty lives within yourself. It's hard, and we struggle with it every night. This world is worth fighting for, even if it hates us. And the people around us are real, even when they are taught that they aren't. Even if we are taught that they don't matter. We don't matter. So we fight for each other, for ourselves, for a world where we can be good to one another. Because that's all we can do. Fight.
Determination! And
Oh,
friendship.
that's the good ending. Okay.
I guess
okay.
the other one was the bad ending. Are we going to go back to get the bad ending?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm
alright.
I want to ruin the movie. Okay, let's...
Are we going to do the other route?
Yeah,
Let's
I'll,
do it.
like, section
The
that
other-
bit
the
off
other-
as, like,
Branch, yeah.
commentary. Yeah, I'll figure out how I'm gonna edit this. Alright, so we're gonna... Now that
Jump
we figured out
forward.
that staying to talk through her emotional state was the good option here, we're gonna jump forward and see what the fuck that does. You have to find something. Something to prove to her that it's gonna be okay. That some of it will mean something. Even as memories of an adultless Alternia flash through your mind, you clench your teeth and reach for her future. There must be something. This is important. It's worth something. This story, Aradia wouldn't have led to it if it didn't mean something. You jump to her future. You find yourself squinting as you try to adjust from the bright moonlight to the much fainter glow of a room. Of a cell. Oh. You see her standing in the back of the room, arms folded, clinging to herself as she stares into the middle distance. Despite your sudden appearance, it takes an achingly slow minute for her to turn her gaze your way. Oh. Yeah, we probably should get the specific content warnings for this ending. Now that I've already jumped forward to some of the obvious stuff. This ending talks about Rose's sexual abuse while being enslaved by Mindfang.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
Yeah. I already read that bit, okay. There's even, like, the bands even got changed to, like, jewelry that looks like cuffs. Ah. Goblins aren't so good, and I cry.
Wait, what?
What?
Did you go ahead? Does my game not have something going on? Oh, that's weird. My game has like a different. Okay, my game is fucked. Hold on, let me reload. We gotta catch up to where you are, because my sprite didn't change.
Hi, Jamie.
Actually, I think do I have an older version of the game? I think I might have an older version of the game.
Okay, yeah, I'm using the itch.io version.
So am I,
Oh.
theoretically. I don't know what's wrong with it. I probably need to uninstall and reinstall it. Whatever, it's fine.
Jimmy is staring down the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Tay. Hey, you want to come here and not eat the cat's food? Please? Oh, no. Please don't hiss at the dog. He got in a fight with Gracie at some point yesterday, and now he's got a big scratch across his nose.
Oh, new sprites were patched in an update. Okay, my game didn't update properly then. I'll have to figure that out later.
Okay. Well, I can stream to the Discord.
No, you're good. It's the same dialogue. It's just the sprites.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I read this bit already.
Okay.
You wish you could say the look on her face didn't make your stomach turn.
It's you.
Her voice rasps, hollow and sore sounding. An equally painful, empty laugh follows.
This is why you never back, isn't?
Your words get caught in your throat. Tisius's words echo in your mind.
They both were. Oh, yeah.
No, you do it.
They both were killed, along with their attempts at change. I don't even know what happened to their compatriots.
Well, apparently you found out. You can't bring yourself to learn more. You're unable to connect this woman with the wildfire you'd been with only moments before. All you can do is stare while she picks at her clothing. You can't decide whether it's fancy or if it's rags. Claws tear a loose section from around her shoulder, and she braids it. She's bored, alone, and hopeless. Springs creak as she sits on the cot. There is no second glance.
You can't change this. And you don't seem the type to be able to kill. Frankly, I wouldn't trust you to do it correctly.
Sharp footsteps approach the door. The Dolorosa's face twists, a mix of disgust and fear. The latter of the two is quickly masked as the steps draw closer. A tight fist closes around the plaited strands of fabric, pale-knuckled, the tension traveling up her entire arm.
Rosa!
A twist of distaste colors her expression for a moment. Nausea floods your entire being as she turns her gaze back to you once more. You see something shattered in her. You open your mouth to say something, but what would you say? It's all too much, too late, and it sticks in your throat.
You're either dead, or may as well be. Nothing left here. So, leave.
She doesn't breathe. She doesn't fidget or blink. No blood pounds in her ears. There is nothing but her hollow rage to make a sound. You can't do anything. You can't do anything for her. Behind you, the door handle rattles, and her head snaps up. Without thinking, you reach out, desperate to get out of this room, to be far, far away from this time, this space, and the story inside it. And find yourself back with the horror terrors. You should go back to her. Back to the forest. Do what she asked, find something that makes it all worth it, but you can't. curling into a ball, you just allow yourself to float aimlessly between tentacles and beaks. There is dread all around you. You don't want to see the rest of Aradia's story. You can't change it. You can't make it better. You can't even make it bearable now, knowing what you know. There are no happy endings here. Dread.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, that was significantly different tonally from the other one. I'm glad we took a bit of a break there.
Yeah.